Hey, it's Aodán here, AodánCoin.com, where I teach you how to play in DADGAD guitar. This lesson we're going to learn the chords in the key of D major up the DADGAD neck with these low major shapes and low minor shapes. And this is very handy because you can play in multiple keys with the aid of a capo. These shapes are all going to work. So in future videos I'll show you how to play without the aid of a capo in DADGAD, but for the moment let's just focus on this D major chords all the way up the neck. If you haven't seen my video on the inside skeleton scale or the outside major skeleton scale, you can check them out. I'll have them in the description because they're going to link in nicely with these full chords. So let's go for it. We're going to start with this full D major chord. And when I say full, I mean the first, the third and the fifth note are all included in there, as you can see at the bottom here. In DADGAD you'll often see D modal chords which only have the first and the fifth, or you might see a G add 2 or A add 4, but you want to know where all of these kind of stem from. I like to know anyway. So you have these full D chords, or you have the full G chord or the full A chord. It's just very handy to know, and then you can start breaking things down and making it more open to that big DADGAD sound. So to start with, we'll start with this D major. We have this open D, fourth finger on the 5th fret of that low A, and we were playing an F sharp with that third finger on the 4th fret of that middle D, and we have that first finger on the 2nd fret of the G string for your full D chord. Moving upwards, we have E minor, and that's with our 2nd, 3rd and 4th finger all squeezed onto that 2nd fret, and then we have that open G. So you want a nice kind of curve in your hand here just to get that open note ringing out. And we're not going to play any of the high notes in these chords. We're going to keep things nice and closed. So now we're going to take this shape and we're going to slide it up 2 frets, and we're going to add in our first finger to get your F sharp minor. Cool. So now our 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers are on the 4th fret of that low D, low A and middle D, and then we have our first finger on that G string. Now we're going over to our G major. So that's with our 2nd, 3rd and 4th on the 5th fret, and we have our first finger on that 4th fret of the G string. Take that exact same shape, hold that shape, and then slide it up 2 frets, and you got your A major. Mighty. Then we got our B minor. Sliding up another 2 frets and dropping that first finger down to the 7th fret. So first finger on the 7th fret of that G string, 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers are on that 9th fret to get your B minor. Things get a little trickier here. We have this C sharp diminished going up the chords in the key of D major. You have a C sharp diminished in there, but in DADGAD you'll often see people just using it as a passing chord and playing this C sharp minor. It's a little bit of an easier chord to play, but we'll learn both just so you have the options. So we have this 3rd finger on the 11th fret of that low D string, 2nd finger on the 10th fret of that low A, 4th finger on the 11th fret of that middle D, and then finally 1st finger on the 9th fret of that G string. So that's your C sharp diminished going up through it. So we have. We could also play this C sharp minor with no 5th, and you're just muting this A string, so you're muting the 5th. So going up through it, it would be, and you'll see a lot of people kind of using that passing note rather than the full diminished. So let's learn this as well. We have 2nd finger on the 11th fret of that low D. We have that 3rd finger on the 11th fret of the middle D, 1st finger on the 9th fret of that G string. So moving from here, we've covered that C sharp diminished, and then we're moving up to this D major, where we have our 2nd, 3rd and 4th finger all squeezed onto that 12th fret, and then 1st finger on the 11th fret of that G, D major. So let's go through all of them again, just so we have them all in our head. This is our first D major. We have our E minor. And we got our F sharp minor. G major, keeping that shape, we're going to slide it up to our A major. And we have our B minor. Then we have our options. Whatever you want to do, you have your C sharp diminished, or you can play your C sharp minor with that muted A. And then we're going up to our D major. Cool, so how can we use this then, you're wondering? Well, as I said in the other videos, we have that inside skeleton scale, outside skeleton scale. I also have options for octaves, and I'll have all of them in the description, and now we can blend them all together as we wish, depending on the tune. So just to give you an example, I'll start with the full chords. Any rhythm you want. Full chords, and we can maybe do the inside, outside, octaves, full chords again. So you have lots of options to play around with, so you can start throwing those inside scales, outside scales, octaves, and now these full chords in together. Plenty to work with. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. If you did, give it a like, comment, and let me know what you think of it, and do subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more in DADGAD to look at, loads of videos here. So I'll see you on the next one.